painted stains, dating some vogues. No love for them lames who left the game exposed. Out here in the Bay, we don't play that shit. If you got a problem, then say that shit. I'm an old school player that broke the mold when they made me. Should've been born in the 60s, ballin' out in the 80s. Out in the club with two half-naked ladies, bopping to the beat, bumping Maze and Frankie. Instead I came up in the grimy 90s. In the early 2000s, popping diz, going hyphy. White tee, blue jeans and Nikes outside nightly. All the pain from the game made my veins run icy.
What up, everybody? This is Dregs One. Welcome to another episode of the History of the Bay podcast, recorded right here at Empire Studios in San Francisco. Got my folks Trevor Potter behind the lens, getting us right. And today we got a really special guest. This is somebody that deserves his props, deserves his flowers, because he's been around for a minute. Part of several different successful labels and situations and wiggling all around the Bay Area, but always doing his own thing and pushing a hard line. Formerly known as Laroo the Hard Hitta. Straight from Richmond, California, we got the one and only Hitta Slim in the building.
Thanks for having me, Dregs. Appreciate you, man.
It's all love, bro. It's all love. Yeah, one thing I respect about you, and we were kind of talking about that, but I'll get a little more into it. I've been seeing your name on like flyers, CDs, probably tapes.
Yeah.
Like
for sure,
forever. And you're still in it, and you like reinvented yourself to get with like the current times. Too.
Yeah. I mean, yeah, man. Like I said, I am blessed enough to have. I've been through. It's crossing through generations. You know what I'm saying? A lot of our peers have done it. You know what I'm saying? Like, you know, and just I've been fortunate enough to. I got some cassette tapes out there.
Right.
Then I got some CDs out there. You know, I got some vinyl out there. You know, all that. You know, moving through those chapters, bro, is you know, it's a blessing.
Why the name change?
People ask me that all the time, and it's like, you know, I know it ended up being a rebranding thing. That's what it ended up being, but that's not really what it was intended for. It was intended because I started DJing.
Really?
You know? Yeah, I was DJing. So because I'm not gonna lie, after my brother passed, the Jack, you know, after my brother passed, it's like my interest for the music wasn't really there no more. And that's okay, but I still love the industry. I still love music, but as far as being a rapper, I felt like me and bruh had a sound. So I wasn't even really comfortable with the sound no more, not having bruh there. You know, we had multiple projects, Never Be the Same, Part 1, Part 2, videos, we had a movement. So when bruh passed, it was like, I just wasn't excited about it no more, you know? But I still love the music, so I said, you know what, I'm gonna go into DJing. So as I'm transitioning to DJing, shout out my brother DJ Juice.
Yeah, that's my guy.
DJ Juice took me under his wing.
Really?
And he was like, bro, you know, I asked him like, bro, will you kind of teach me the ropes? And because, you know, he one of my, you know, favorite DJs who really know how to rock the party.
For sure. So
he took me under his wing, and he really damn near like gave me lessons. And I practiced and I practiced and I practiced and I practiced. I didn't stop because I already love music. So it was I'm not gonna say easy transition, but it was a doable transition.
Yeah, if you know rhythm and timing and
right.
selection
I
and all
engineer
that.
in the studio.
Yeah.
I know how to I know a lot of shit.
Yeah.
So I started DJing. So as I transitioned into that, I was thinking like, you know, the DJ Laroo thing. The sound wasn't. It didn't ring to me, and I had a mixtape with DJ Juice called Hitta Slim.
Okay.
Years ago.
Okay.
So I was just thinking like, man, I could just go with DJ Hitta Slim. So it went DJ Hitta Slim. So, you know, I did like the E-40 tour, DJing like an opening DJs and DJing for artists, and you know, I went out there on the road for like a month DJing. I didn't rap at all. You know what I'm saying? So I was on the move where I wasn't doing no rapping, you know? And then so when I came back from tour, I came back home and I understood music a little different, you know, because while I was DJing, I got a huge catalog, you know, and I could have been playing my own music and all that, but it didn't fit the format when I was reading the room. I was playing records as I go on and I'm trying to rock the party, you know, so I started learning, you know, the format of what I would play as a DJ. So when I came home, I started thinking like, man, I was hearing beats different, hearing music different, hearing tempos different, everything. So then I started getting in the studio with my boy MFL Trip, you know, and then because I kind of saw him in the traffic and was like, man, I'm trying to get back in the music thing a little bit, you know, let me just come vibe out. So I'm vibing out with him and I started making music, and then instead of going back to the Laroo, I was just like, I'm just gonna do the Hitta Slim because the sound was different. And I was just like, I'm just gonna keep it rolling because I was already promoting DJ Hitta Slim. So I was putting out content under DJ Hitta Slim, but then I just dropped the DJ because I was going into the artist mode. You know what I'm saying?
Wow, that's an interesting journey, man.
Yeah.
I like hearing stories like that one because it shows you really love hip hop.
Right.
Because
people got to understand there's multiple positions you can play in this industry.
Exactly.
You don't gotta just be a rapper. You don't gotta you don't gotta just be a manager. You don't gotta just be It's so many elements to this game. You know what I mean?
when you really love it.
When you really love it.
Yeah.
You
Some
know?
people who rap for the wrong reasons might not be able to make that kind of transition.
There you go.
The other thing I love about it is just like, you know, doing this history podcast is like there's always longevity to be had. There's always a lane, there's a change you can make. It's like, you know, the more years you get in the game, it's like you can stay in it to win it.
For sure.
There's always something that you can do to reinvent yourself.
If you really love it, though.
Yeah, if you really love it.
You really love it, you know? Yeah, man.
History of the Bay Day is back for our third annual event, Sunday, November 9th at Public Works in San Francisco. There's going to be performances, live podcasts, discussion panel, graffiti art gallery, museum exhibit, food trucks, vendors, and much more. You can grab early bird discount tickets right now for only $20 before we announce the full lineup. And trust me, when you see this lineup, you're going to want to make sure that you're there. Grab your tickets right now, and I'll see you November 9th for the third annual History of the Bay Day. That's cool, man. Well, now that you answered that question, because I was personally curious about that, I knew there was a story behind it.
Right.
Let's go back to the origins of Laroo and where you started. Are you born and raised in Richmond?
No. I was born in the East Coast and I was raised in the Bay Area from Oakland to Richmond. And throughout my life, I moved back and forth to both cities. So, you know, I went to school in Oakland, I went to school in Richmond. During my high school years and my late junior high school years and high school years, I was in Richmond. So as I grew into a man, but I was still even back and forth through elementary. But once I transitioned into a grown man, I was in Richmond.
That kind of reminds me of Kevin Allen, Irk the Jerk. He has like a Richmond, Oakland. Yeah,
because like even it's artists like Kick the Sneak. You know, it's artists in this game that are my real friends. Like me and Kick the Sneak went to junior high together. We had classes together. So it's more like, and he was rapping back then. So, and he was like, it was not like we was just in passing. That was my partner, but I wasn't rapping yet. But these is like stories of artists who I've, know outside of music. You know what I mean?
Wasn't there like tension between Richmond and Oakland back in the day?
Never that I was a part of.
Okay,
you know what I mean?
Maybe beforehand.
Yeah, it might have been before me. Never nothing I was a part of.
Okay, I remember that from my conversation with Magic Mike.
Yeah, see, that's my OG right there. So for him, their generation, it could have been a possibility because they used to be at the Candlelight, all the little legendary stories that I hear from Magic Mike, and a lot of the OGs is like, yeah, for sure. I mean, they might have had they little different situations.
Yeah, some minor like that, like a lot.
I wasn't outside yet though.
Yeah. I mean, the thing about those two places, Oakland and Richmond, is they each got a lot of game.
Right.
And it's if you're not from the Bay, you might not really understand how gamed up Richmond is. Like Richmond is its own world, its own universe. And Oakland is kind of the same. Oakland is more like notorious nationwide, but Richmond got a lot of like street culture too.
in the inner city of both cities, it takes a lot to survive, man. Unless you all the way stay to yourself, which is hard to do. But if you get in the intertwine of what's going on in the streets, they both hard places to survive. You got to understand the terrain. You got to understand how they move. So for me, it was a blessing to be within the thickness of both of them. You know, I was able to navigate in the inner city of both of them. I was, you know, in the streets in both cities. You know what I mean?
Yeah, so you kind of have to be sharp navigating that.
It's not optional.
Yeah, it's not optional.
Because it'll swallow you whole, man. You got to understand. You got to know when to say yes and when to say no.
Right.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, you got to be your own person. You got to lead your own way.
Yeah.
It's changed a lot, though. It's interesting. Like, Richmond is a much different city these days.
I feel like I think like the streets are, you know, period. Because, you know, people aren't outside as much anymore because of, you know, technology, cameras everywhere. So the streets is different. You know, the streets is not like, it's a different type of streets. Now the streets is the internet.
Yeah.
At the same time,
It's all
you know,
broadcast.
I mean, you know, because you're two people. You are who you are online, then you are who you are in real life.
Right.
So you are who you are online, which you can kind of create that person somewhat, and then you are. So everybody got split into two people. You know what I mean? So it's different, man. Like I look at the young generation, they arguing in the comments, they arguing, you know. And it's like you could say something online that you didn't really genuinely mean, but then it transitioned into the streets.
I noticed they operate so heavy on subliminals.
For sure.
And trolling.
You see what I'm? Because that's the new streets.
Yeah.
You know, it's the new, and it's serious. There was there was a time when the internet, you had all the real ones saying, "Oh, I don't be on the internet. I don't do that computer stuff. I don't do that phone. I don't be on the internet." Now you can't really exist if you don't have a online identity.
Have you ever read The Godfather, the book?
Nah, I haven't.
I was rereading it, and The Godfather wouldn't even talk on the phone to anybody.
Oh yeah. I'm hip to all that. Yeah, they was writing notes and burning them.
Like he wouldn't even wish his niece a happy birthday or something because he said he was so afraid that they could record his voice and splice it up or whatever.
Right.
And now everything is on the phone.
It's hard to exist without technology.
So you were an outside kid growing up.
Yes.
You weren't in the house doing homework and shit like that. Or maybe you were. I don't know. Maybe both.
I would say outside.
Okay.
I would say outside.
Okay.
Yeah. I would say outside. Definitely.
And you mentioned you went to school with Keek. That's interesting.
We went to Bret Hart.
Who else? Was there anyone else around in that time?
As far as rappers, nah, not that I mean, you know, it was, you know, a couple people. It's not very many people who I went to school with that's still like in the industry or that's, you know, tied to the industry, but it's just a couple here and there.
Well, it's kind of what we were talking about earlier too. It was like just less people rapping back then.
Right,
period.
Right.
At what point did you get into hip hop?
I started in the ninth grade. I was going, at this time, I'm back in Richmond. I'm going to De Anza High School. So I was in high school. I was a freshman. And that's when I started dabbling in the music.
And this is like home studios and stuff like that?
Not even in the studio. I was just writing raps for the homies. And, you know, then I started buying studio time. You know what I mean? Shout out my OG partner, Poor Man Dre. He had a studio. I used to go over there and, you know, pay for a little studio time, recording on a 4-track just to hear my sound on a tape. On the little high-buys tape, you know what I'm saying? So
what inspires you to get into that?
I used to like artists like back then. Of course, we was listening to Pac, we was listening to DJ Quick. You know, it was music like that, you know, that started coming out, and then the bass stuff started coming out that we was getting hip to, the E-40s and the, you know, artists like that. We started, you know, like, man, this is hard. Did
you ever see Master P when he was in Richmond?
Oh, I went to school with Silk the Shocker.
Ah, okay.
So, you know, he went to De Anza. So we was at De Anza together. And so I knew him. I mean, we wasn't like how me and Keek was like actual partners in school. But, you know, I knew him. We'd always say, what's up? You know, but we wasn't like locked in. So I knew him. And, but yeah, P was in Richmond. He was around. I grew up watching his marketing strategies. Like, Like one of them that I picked up, and I didn't catch it till later on. Like, man, that dude was genius. Back then, you know, we riding the bus. I get on the bus one day. I go to the back of the bus. We always get on the bus, go to the back of the bus. Boom, it's a paper bag on the bus. You feel me? The paper bag. I don't see nobody around. You know, you got to kind of peep, like, you know, like, who bag is this? I look in the bag, and it's full of cassette tapes, brand new. And I'm like, oh man, this, you know, boom. I take it, I open it, and it's Master P, one of Master P releases. And I'm looking through this, a whole bag. I'm like, I felt like I came up. So what did I do? I go run out on the streets, and bro, you my boy, I'll give you one. This man got me doing free promo.
Free distribution. Wow.
And I felt like I came up on something.
Yeah.
But all the time, you know what I'm saying?
That's pretty genius.
It was genius. When I sat back and I thought, I was like, man, that man was ahead of his time. He was on some high level, you know. Somebody literally went and placed that there.
Yeah, that's pretty smart. I also, it makes me miss like the physical era.
I think it's coming back. A lot of people pressing up CDs. But see, the problem is like, you know, I think it's more so just memorabilia, because it's like, where you going to play your CD at nowadays?
That's what I mean. Like, when you had a CD, there was so much value, because you only had so many CDs, especially if you going around with a Walkman or in a car or whatever. So when you give somebody a CD, it's like, oh shit, you just gave me music. Right. Now music is so disposable because you can get millions of songs at the touch of your fingertip.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah. Okay, so you're like seeing like the Bay Area scene emerge. Like, what point did you start taking it serious?
I mean, I always felt like, you know, once I started rapping, I enjoyed it. Like, I enjoyed rapping. Even other artists, I used to enjoy rapping they raps word for word. Like, I told artists, like, you know, even to this day, I feel like if you're a rapper who can listen to some music and you can rap it very well, recite it very well, then, you know, you have the potential to be an artist, you know, as long as you ain't scared to unleash your creativity. Right. So when I was in high, you know, like I said, I was in the streets. I'm not gonna lie, I was in the streets. And my big bro, you know, I'm in high school. My big bro, he was older than me. He was a senior when I was a freshman. So we in the streets and we doing things, you know, getting caught up in kind of like the street life. He ended up catching some charges. Shout out my big bro, Tay Miles. He go by Stay Ready. But he ended up catching some charges, right? So I had about 5 or 6 verses. He ended up catching some charges. So he goes to the penitentiary. I'm traumatized by it because, you know, we young, and I'm like, damn, he caught some real time. So it was an eye-opener too. But as he goes to the penitentiary, you know, I kind of start calming down. I'm chilling, you know, I'm taking things slower because, you know, I'm losing partners. They dying. It's gun violence. My folks is going to jail. So while he's in jail, he somehow comes across, he's in the penitentiary with Freddie T. Smith. That's the CEO of AWOL. Right. So mind you, he had been getting into the mix. He was young at the time, so he was in the hole. So I hadn't even talked to him. I didn't know what was going on. I mean, I was in communication with him, but he went into the hole, so I hadn't talked to him. So I didn't get a heads up or nothing. So one day I come home, still living with my mom. So I come home and she's like, you know, back then it was a house phone. You didn't have cell phones yet, you know. So she took a note. It was like, oh, you got a call from, you know, she wrote A1 Records. So I'm like, ain't no record company. What you mean? I'm in the streets at the time, bro. Times is tough. I'm trying to figure it out. I'm probably selling nickel sacks. I'm just the average guy trying to get by, you know. So I called a number back, and they answered like AWOL Records. And I knew who AWOL Records was because all my big cousins was slapping Straight Killer, C-Bo, all the, you know what I'm saying? So I knew who they were. So I was like, what the hell? And then shout out Marshall Tubbs. It was Marshall Tubbs. He was working at AWOL at the time. And he was like, yeah, man, you got some people speaking highly of you on the inside. They said, you know, they should tap in. So I'm like, what the? He was like, man, you got anything I could play? Now, mind you, I had been going to the studio getting my little demos. So this is why it's always good to believe in yourself, because I did have a demo tape to play over the phone. I put my, you know, headphones to it, Should I have on my headphones?
No, you good.
Oh, okay.
Unless you want to.
No, I ain't tripping. Yeah, so I put the earpiece to the headphones, like, you know, back then you was like this to the cordless phone. So boom, I played that. Then he was like, all right, I want to hear you rap something right now though. So, you know, my mom's just home and whatnot. This is back then. So I look at her, I'm like, let me go step outside because I'm finna rap for my life outside real quick. So I go out there, I rap on the mic. I mean on the phone. And then he heard it, he was like, hey man, you signed. Just like that.
Wow.
And I'm like, what does that mean? You know? And he's like, you got a fax machine? I'm like, no. So then I go to Kinko's. I get the number to Kinko's, the fax machine. And he's like, we're gonna send over the contracts. Man, I tell you, I sat at Kinko's all day. You know? That shit came through, long ass contract. And to be honest, I didn't care what it said at the time, bro.
I was gonna say, I was like, I know you didn't really read that.
I didn't care what it said. I mean, don't get me wrong. I reached out to people because see, here's how the story circles back. Is that, like I said, remember, Keek is my brother. You know what I'm saying? And Keek was signed to AWOL.
Dual committee.
You know what I mean? So when that came across my plate, of course, I thought about him. So, you know, I go pull up on Keek. Like, bro, hey man, you know, I got this going on. You know what I'm saying? And his business experience, it didn't probably end well really with him. I guess he, you know, whatever they business situation, I don't think
they never dropped a project.
Yeah, I think they had just like a little venture, and then maybe things wasn't in their favor, so they might have parted ways. But at the end of the day, he was kind of like, nah, you know, that situation wasn't really, you know, he was expressing that it didn't really go well for him. So I'm thinking like, I'm hearing all the things he's saying. And he like, nah, bro. But in my head, I'm like, I ain't got too many other options.
Right.
You know, at the time, you know, bro was Keek. They was getting on. They was going in the 3 times. They was going, you know what I'm saying? And I'm like, okay. I heard him out and everything and was like, I'm going. So boom, I signed. And full circle, me and Keek, we ended up on tours together, doing multiple, all type of stuff. And me and him that had conversations, he was like, blood, I'm glad you listened to me, blood. You know what I'm saying? Because you wouldn't be who you are.
Yeah.
You know, so of course I signed. I didn't care what the percentage was low. The deal wasn't really, it was like a 5-year deal. I was a teenager. I was fresh out of high school. I was like, let me get in the game. So when I signed, we go to Fairfield because they were stationed out of Fairfield. So we go to Fairfield, and I remember when I get there, the only person there was Lunatic. He went by Lunatic at the time, which is Looney Coleon. I know you know that.
Yep.
But so when I get there, and he was a new artist at the time too. So I get there and I'm like, where everybody at? Like, where's C-Bo at? Where Mar? You know, nobody was there. It was just Lunatic. So they're like, oh, you know, everybody's, you know, certain people left the label because AWOL had went through a whole restructure. Freddie T went to jail. This, that, and third.
Right. So
they kind of parted.
Can we pause right there just for a second? Because I have a couple questions. One, like, wasn't the label called AWOL because C-Bo and Freddie T were on the run at the time? I
don't think so. I don't know. Nah, because they wasn't on the run at first. You know, when
that's what I thought I heard. Okay, I might be mistaken.
I mean, I never heard that one, but they was balling out because Freddie T is E-40's cousin. They family. They blood related. So Freddie T got the game from E-40 because he used to go drive down from Sac and see his cousins balling out. They was in the game. So he was like, man, I'm going to create something like this. And he went to 40 like, man, how do I do this type of shit? And 40 gave him the game. Like, man, go get you an artist, structure it, whoop, whoop, whoop. He went and got C-Bo. And then he was like, man, you know, get you like a Sugar T, marvelous. He went and started structuring his, you know, this is before I was in the game. So when I came to the label, there was nobody there. Only person that was there was Lunatic. So I was trying to figure out, like, what's going on, everybody at? Okay.
The other thing that struck me about that story is, man, a penitentiary recommendation goes a long way, bro. If you're outside and someone is speaking on you on the inside.
But that's my big brother. So I mean, if he was gonna put somebody on, it was gonna be me. That's still my brother. We talk almost every day to this day. There's never a friendship that it didn't fade. It was like that was my brother.
Well, that's because when you're in there, it's like your word is so important. So if you're vouching for somebody, if you're like, nah, he's dope.
And that's why I felt like I had to go so hard because I didn't talk to him. It's not like he was like, bro, I'm going to lock something in for you. I'm going to put something on the table for you. We didn't even talk about the conversation. It just landed on my plate. And then when he was like, man, you got some people on the inside speaking heavy that, that says something. It instantly clicked. And I was like, okay, this big bruh, I'm finna smash
so
on
they
this.
might have already been like thinking of signing you just on the strength of how
plus Big Brother knew a lot of my verses because I would have like 5 or 6 verses on the streets. So we was together every day. So, the homies in the crew knew my verses. Like my 5 little verses, I rap them over and over while we chilling, getting high, doing all that. I'm rapping my couple verses. So they knew my verses. So when he was in there, from what I understand, he was kind of like rapping some of the lyrics, and he was like, "Man, I'm gonna tap you in."
Yeah, that trips me out because today to get signed, they're gonna be like, "How many followers do you have?"
Oh yeah, it's a different generation.
And back then, it's like if you're dope,
and that's why I had to go in on it
enough.
because it was opportunity, bro. Like that was rare. I understood. Plus, Big Bro was he was in a jam and put me in a situation where I'm gonna be picky and be like, nah, I want this and want that. I said, man, let's go.
Wow, that's dope. Okay, so this is so now you're on AWOL. They're putting out Lunatic.
Yeah, I come and it's only Lunatic there. So me and him, we instantly like locked in. So we locked in. Lunatic's a little older than me. I'm the youngest on the label. I'm like fresh teenager. So Looney a couple years older than me. And then so we in there. We in the studio. We working on Mr. Lunatic. This is the first time I see my name printed on on hard copy. So right after that, like I said, we might have been working for a couple of weeks, and then next thing you know, a couple of cars pulled up, and that's when all these dudes getting out the car. So I see Bobby G. Bobby G is Freddie T's brother. He was playing the vice president role. They came down from Seattle. Then you had Killer Tate jump out. The homie 151, Marvelous showed up. Pizzo showed up. Everybody just like came at one time. And I'm looking like, who the fuck is all these motherfuckers? You know what I'm saying? So we in there, everybody's, Killer from Fresno, that they from Sac, they from Fairfield, Seattle. It was like, and me, I'm solo. You know what I'm saying? So then we all get in the lab. We kind of peeping each other. Everybody in there, rapping their shit. So boom, that's when we started working on. We finished up Lunatic album. Then we went into West Coast Tripping. And and everybody. I think the creative energy was so high because we all had something to prove. You know what I mean? I know I did. You know what I mean?
So you guys were all like the label was damn near going one artist at a time, and everybody was contributing to that artist.
Exactly.
That's a smart way to run a label because
that's how I was going.
That way you showcase everybody on the roster.
And we was dropping compilations in between.
Right.
But like I said, at that time, everything started forming. And then, of course, when I came to the label, I found out that C-Bo was incarcerated at the time. I didn't even know that when I first signed. I thought I was going to go in there and meet him and all this and all that. But then he was down. So, we in there working, knocking stuff out. This was probably like 97. Next thing you know, Bo got his release date. So we all met up. Bo got out. It was an electrified moment. He had like a brand new Benz waiting on him. He pulled up. We all at like the hotel. We waiting. It was legendary. He met everybody like, okay, all right, woo, woo, woo. Now we in the lab till my casket dropped. You know what I'm saying? And we cooking. And things was different. At that time, we recording on ADATs. It wasn't no punching in. You had to rap your whole verse. Mm-hmm. You know what I'm saying? And I just remember the rap booth was a room around this size. There was a camera on the wall, and you had 20 cats in the control room. Everybody watching you like this. You better go in there and handle your business.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? That was the pressure of the game back then.
Yeah, AWOL also had some banging ass production, man.
Yeah.
Mike Mosley, One Drop Scott,
DJ
Daryl.
We had Andolas. We had a lot of production coming in We had a team of producers, you know, and they would just block out studio time, and we was just in there. I was just in there. I was just rapping, you know.
Are you starting to get your name out there too from appearing on all these releases?
Yeah, and I was, right? But I didn't know that. I didn't even know that. Like, you know, I would, you know, and at the time, you know, AWOL had several company vehicles, whether it was Lexus, this car, that car. If you had your AWOL van, if you had your license, you can do your thing.
Damn.
So,
That's
you know,
fire.
I had my L's, so I'm hopping in this whip, that whip. I'm going back to Richmond. You know, I'm pulling up, and people really, I didn't, it was happening so fast, I didn't really take in how people was looking at me, but they looking at it like, you made it. Like,
you rapping with C-Bo, blood?
I didn't even understand the magnitude of what was going on. So I'm pulling up. I'm in the hood. I'm sliding through. Woo woo woo. People, and they love me. They loving it. And it's like, you know, I'm starting to realize it because stuff is coming out, and people like, you know, as soon as I show up, they already know the words, and I'm just like, how you get this? But that's when people was rushing to the store going to buy stuff. Like, I never forget one time when we first dropped West Coast Trippin'. That same, when it came out that night, we was going to like something in Sac. It was an event we was going to in Sac. But we parked our vehicles and we walking over to the event. It might have been the Sac Fair. I can't remember. But, you know, we parked our vehicles. We walking to the, you know, up to the event. And it's probably about, no exaggeration, it was probably about 10 different cars rolled by us slapping it.
Mm.
And we walking like, all of us, all the artists, all of us, we walking like, damn, how they got this already? So people was actually rushing to the store to go get this music.
Yeah, that was a big label. It's dope to hear like how solid like the campaign was, the business, company, cars, because like so many Bay Area record labels. I say this joke sometimes. It's just a logo. Like it's just a logo on the back of the CD. It's
Facts.
not actual offices and employees.
It was office, it was studio, it was an AWOL house, it was cars, it was all that. And mind you, you know, compared to how it is now, it's a big difference. It's not a lot of labels moving like that no more.
Well, that's also smart too. Like, man, I'm like, that's good marketing, bro, to like put your artist in a new car and have them slide around, because the message gets across like, damn, you doing good over there.
Oh, yeah. Nah, for sure.
And I also asked too, because it comes up a lot on this podcast, it's just how back then, how much even having a feature on a popular record would do
sure.
for you.
Yeah, because we was all just using our crew. We wasn't even really, you know. Of course, C-Bo was working with, like, you know, everybody, working with Spice One, working with E-40, working with, you know, but us, we was just using each other.
Right.
You know, I had Killer Tay on my album, C-Bo, you know, just the homies.
Right.
You know, and that was album done.
So that was your debut album, was on AWOL.
Yes.
And how did that do?
It did well. People was, you know, receiving. I was doing some good numbers, you know. I was featuring on Everybody Project, you know. I was excited, you know. People was receiving it.
When it came time to release your album, did the business work out in that way?
Well, see, here's my thing. I felt like it did, right? Because here's the business under aspect of it is that, you know, at the end of the day, I knew what I signed. You know, I signed a low percentage deal because this is a label that's taking a chance on a new artist that doesn't have. I've never done no music before, so it's like they're taking a chance on a new artist. So I knew I signed a low percentage deal. So I received money, but I wasn't, you know, like balling out. But for me being a teenager, it's like I wasn't really tripping. So being that all the money that was clearly being made because we seeing this, we seeing that, we seeing this, so. I just think, you know, you can get frustrated if you see a lot of money being made. You're going to feel like, okay, you should be looking out for me. So it was kind of like, it was give and take for me. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, a lot of artists have that kind of frustration.
Yeah.
Of like, they don't understand it's not adding up according to them. But then when you talk about company cars and studio time and all these beats. And
when you look at business, it turns into like, okay, whatever I signed, you over there getting to this money, throw me something extra.
Right.
So that might be a mindset too. But for me, I just was so young that I was just enjoying the ride.
Yeah. So
it was a lot of frustration coming in with the label on the business side. Not long after my album came out, everybody album was coming out, and people, everybody was kind of getting frustrated. Maybe everybody wanted, houses and cars and, things like that. I get it. And so, the signals start getting crossed. Everybody start, feeling frustrated or whatever the case may be. So everybody start parting ways. So me, I still, like Bo started, he got his thing, West Coast Mafia going. The Mob Figures had came not long, I remember when they first came to the table.
Yeah, when he said "till my casket drops," that's what I thought of, because that's their first
when,
appearance.
Right. And I was there, and that's when I locked in with the Mob Figures, like when they first became the Mob Figures. And so everybody kind of started parting ways. Me, I was still like, okay, I'm gonna still keep rocking. So then I dropped another album on AWOL, which was Ghetto Perfection. So I still was like, okay, I'm gonna keep rocking. Everybody else was kind of parting their ways. Excuse me. And slowly but surely it kind of started, dismantling a little bit, on the business side. It was hard to keep it together. Plus, Freddie T, he's on the inside while all this turmoil is going on. He's not even there.
He was locked up this whole time.
He's locked up this whole time.
And didn't C-Bo go back to jail too? Like,
yeah, because see, that was a legendary moment too, where, because he was on paperwork or whatever from his and
parole.
Yeah, and they was tripping on him releasing his music.
Right.
So I still remember, like, he was like, I'm dropping what I want to drop. And he still put the music out, and they literally really came and arrested him.
Right.
And we was there. Like, we was like, wow. This is the first time they like, hey, if you put this music out, we coming. They came. So, that's something that's really slept on that people don't really recognize. Like, that was a serious moment in hip-hop.
Yeah, the dude got locked up for his lyrics.
Come on.
Literally.
There you go.
Like,
in real
no
life.
other crime committed, but
real life.
rapping.
No crime committed, no violation. He didn't get caught with no guns, no drugs, no none of that. That man released his music, and they came to arrest him.
Right. Yeah, it's pretty historic.
Yeah.
So you're sticking around while everybody's getting their own, because West Coast Mafia was like C-Bo, Killer Tay, like Pizzo went over there. I know Marvelous went over there. But you kind of stuck it out with AWOL for a little
but I
longer.
was still locked in with everybody. I didn't take sides in that really, like, you know what I'm saying? Because we all, in my eyes, we all family. We all was, brothers and sisters, and we was all a team. So I never really took sides and kind of like, say I didn't go into it like that,
At what, did your contract expire? Like, because I know you said it was a 5-year at first.
It was coming to an end. And then as it was coming to an end, finally, Fred was like, he's shutting it down. So that's when that's when reality hit me, because now he's shutting it down. I got the calls, hey, drop my cars off with my wife, everything. And I'm like, in my mind, I was so young, I kind of thought these was my cars. But I didn't have no paperwork on them. The truth is, I wasn't paying no insurance, so I wasn't paying no bill. So not mine. So I had to, boom, take everything back. Everything was shut down. Now I'm back like, okay, what next? It's over. So then that's when the reality hit, because now I'm back in the streets. And luckily for me, I never fronted on nobody. No matter what level of the game I was on, I never fronted on nobody. I was always, I ain't above you. We side by side. I'm next to you. So I was able to go back to the streets because I never came through shitting on nobody. So I'm back in the streets now, and it's like there's nothing. So I'm like, damn. But I still have my street fame, kind of like. So now it's like, now I'm back hustling, because this is what I really came from. So I understood the hustle. So I'm back in the streets, like hustling. And it had its ups and downs, and I was trying to figure it out. But then I kind of got my grips on it, and then this is when I formed my label, Timeless ENT, and was like, you know what, I'm a, form this. And now, as I form my label, now Freddie T gets out. You know what I mean? And I'm not sure his relationship with everybody else. I think they might have been on rocky terms or whatever, but he was cool with me. And by then, I had opened up a little studio in Richmond. So now I understood. I took a lot of business model from AWOL. I was like, okay, I need a foundation. I need a hub. So that's when I opened up a studio, 24th in Roosevelt in Richmond. and I had a small little studio. Now, a lot of people didn't have studios at the time, so everybody was coming through, from all the AWOL artists, Keith, Quinn, everybody from everywhere in the Bay was coming to my studio. The Mob Figures, Jack, all this. This is how I started really forming bonds with the artists, and So, but then Freddie T comes home, so he comes to the studio. He pulls up. He's pulling up on me and stuff. We hollering, and he was real. He was on some real humble time and everything, and I was able to ask him a lot of questions. And I was just like, wait, so what was going on here? What was going on? He was just giving me a lot of game. He didn't come home upset or bitter with me. He was giving me the game. He was telling me, like, nah, you gotta do this, you gotta do that. So now I'm like, oh, so, and he's like rocking with me. And this is how it actually transitioned into Sick With It. Because he comes home, it was just, he was pulling up on me on a regular basis. We hollering, all this and that. One day he called me and was like, come on, man, you gonna ride with me? I'm still a youngster. I'm like probably early 20s now, whatever, case may be. And I'm like, oh, okay, boom. I don't even know where we going. That's how he was. He'd just come snatch you up, come ride, whatever. So he come get me and we ride out. I can't remember if we went to Salinas or Monterey. It was somewhere out there though. So we pull up and I realized we had a show. So it's an E-40 show. It's just me and Fred. So we go in, I'm like, oh, okay, it's whatever. I had been around 40 and stuff like that, but I was a little homie. I never was in it, all right, man, I just played my position, just fell back. And then him and Fred and 40, they over there chopping it up. They probably about 15, 20 feet from me. And I'm just standing there just playing my position. I was never like, groupie type. I always played my position. But while they talking, I seen 40 kind of looking over his shoulder, just kind of looking at me like, because at the end of the day, they was family. So 40 at the end of the day was probably like, man, who you with? Where everybody? Where all your people? Where all your? And I guess Fred was kind of like, he the only one that's, around right now. So I just kind of like, what's up? And, that was it, But that right there transitioned into like 40 remembering me. You know what I'm saying? So, here we are. I'm still rocking. I'm still rolling. And then I got my platform. All the artists is pulling up on me, from the Federation to Rick Rock coming through. All the artists, they was always coming to my facility. And so next thing you know, I came with a song, Tycoonin. I come with Tycoonin, and it started with the Federation and Keek. And then the song got on Camille. So as it gets on Camille, I reach out to, I'm trying to do a remix now. So I called Jack. I said, Jack, man, I'm putting you on the song. He like, what? I was like, yeah, you on here, bro. I called Quinn, put Quinn on there. So I'm like, let me try to get 40. You know what I'm saying? Because I was locked in with Muggsy, too. So I'm hitting Muggsy like, man, you think I can get him? He's like, he know about the song. He liked the song. So I'm like, what? So anyway, long story short, they got connected. I get on the phone with 40. And I'm like, oh, man, what's up? Woo, woo. He knows everything. He remembers everything. 40's very sharp. He remembers everything. So he said he agreed to do the record. So I'm juiced, right? I'm excited. And he was like, man, you know what? And we should do some business. So I'm like, what? I'm like, hell yeah. So also at the time, I was going through some legal trouble because I was still kind of heavy in the streets at the time.
Yeah, let me pause you again right there. You're a great storyteller, bro. It's always good when, like, I could just sit back and let you talk because you know how to narrate the story, but there's a couple questions I got along the way.
Go ahead.
One, it's a trip that your boy Stay Ready is in the pen, recommends you to Freddie T.
Okay.
Freddie T gets out, recommends you to E-40 in a way. That's crazy how that all started with your boy speaking on you way back in the day. That's tight. Two, earlier when you were like, I was selling nickel sacks or whatever, I was like, okay. But in my mind, I'm like, I know that's not like where it ended for you. Just listening to your stories and your raps.
Right.
So to hear that.
My bundles used to be this big, bro, trying to make $100.
Right. Yeah, that's the grind. That's where a lot of people start, but it's also some bass shit, for better or for worse, that when the rap shit dries up, you kind of got to go back to square one. But it sounds like you were able to kind of elevate to a next level to where this is also some bass shit, where you take that and you invest it into this.
Right.
And that's actually like some smart shit, to invest into things that make you money, passive income, if you will, like a studio.
Because people don't understand. Even me saying I was selling nickel sacks, right? I ain't gonna lie, but there was still game involved with that because I didn't want to miss no money.
Yeah.
So a lot of people, they only had dub sacks and they wanted 2 for 15. I'm gonna get this. I'm gonna go for the bottom customers,
For sure.
that can't afford even the $10. I was
sure.
like, you know what? I'm gonna do 2 for 10.
Yeah.
Y'all got 2 for 15. I got 2 for 10.
Yeah.
So it was always a business model involved with it, you know?
Yeah. I mean, I'm not speaking down on it, because
No, for sure, I know.
like, I mean, I don't want to say too much, but like, yeah, you could break down an eighth of weed.
Surely.
and sack that up.
Surely.
And go get you another eighth and another eighth and then a quarter and then a half, and that's how a lot of shit goes. But it's like, as you get deeper into it, like, it's smart that you came back and put that into
Right.
right.
And I was still, like I said, of course, I was hustling to keep it all flowing. So I put it into the studio, and it was a launch pad now for me to be, you know, I was doing it all up in there.
What year was that?
Early 2000s.
So that's also like what I wanted to get at too, because you're starting like in the mob music era. Early 2000s, I feel like there was a lot more money in the music scene locally.
Right.
Radio was behind the Bay a lot more. It's just like kind of the cusp of the hyphy movement.
And we going straight independent. We you know, pressing up our CDs. We going to City Hall.
Right.
We going to Urban Life, and you know, we was hustling, dropping our 2000 CDs. We was going directly to what's that in Berkeley? Rasputin's. We going straight to Rasputin's, going to pick up checks. It was like that.
Yeah, there was a lot of money out here. The industry was probably at its peak around the early 2000s, and this is also like, I remember like your label Timeless. I remember that logo. Like I told you, like appearing on a lot of flyers, a lot of CDs. Like he was definitely making a footprint out here.
Oh, thank you, man.
So that makes sense. So then Tycoonin gets picked up by the radio.
Yeah.
40 jumps on the remix.
Shout out Chewy Gomez too, because he believed in me and showed me a lot of love.
Chewy.
When I see Chewy, I always give Chewy his flowers, because you know, he was a dude who just, you know, he gave me a shot. You know what I'm saying?
That made a big difference.
Him and Mind Motion.
Yeah.
Him and Mind Motion, them dudes gave me a shot, bro.
Shout out Mind Motion.
I approached Chewy on the streets, and I saw him multiple times. And I came up on Chewy and said, man, every time I see you, I'm going to give you this. You know what I'm saying? And then finally, one day, we were at the hyphy video shoot. It was like in West Oakland. They was filming hyphy. And you know, like I said, I'm locked in with Rick Rock. I'm locked in with, I have a personal relationship with all these artists. So I'm at the shoot, and Chewy's there. And while I'm approaching Chewy to with another CD, Rick Rock kind of comes over to me, and we talking like regular, you know, that was my dog. So he was just like, hey, Rose, you know, and I think Chewy also seen the interaction like, well, damn, okay. This dude he hustling a little bit. And I just remember after that shoot, the next day, it came on the radio, like just the beat. Dun, 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 and we was losing it. You know what I'm saying? So from there, that transitioned into something.
Yeah, that's the Bay had a lot more infrastructure back then.
Yeah. To
where we had radio support, we had distribution, we had the stores and all that. So it's now to go back to where we left off. So now 40 starts talking business with you.
Right. So Water, you know, puts a opportunity on the table for me, and at the time I'm going through some legal trouble. So you know, because like I said, I was, you know, doing all type of crazy stuff. Money wise though, I was trying to get money. I wasn't never on no like, oh, I'm, you know, funking with this, that. You know, I always kept it, you know, neutral for the most part. So all the run-ins and stuff that I had, I will say it was behind some money. You know, I was trying to get some more. So I was going through some legal trouble at the time, and then 40 presented the opportunity, and I was like, let's go, you know. So I did that, and that's when now we in the era of, mind you, the whole time after AWOL, Jack is coming through all the time. That was my brother, outside of music. So, like, I would come to the studio, in my studio, he would already be there. Like, he's in there smoking, we playing Madden, video game. We
Didn't he grow up partially in Richmond,
yes, he
too?
did. He did. He got a lot of family in Richmond. He was, he was tied in. He just,
Did you know him from back then, or
No.
you just met through music?
I met them as the Mob Figures.
Got you.
When they first came to
But
audition.
and FedEx is from Richmond, too, right?
FedEx, yep. I knew his brother and everything, so I knew his family and stuff like that. But so they all would come through at even different times, not all at the same time. One day it'd be Huss there, one day it'd be FedEx, and Jack was just a regular coming through. The tree was always flowing. We was just kicking it. It wasn't even on no let's just rap and do hella music. It wasn't even on that. That was my bro. I didn't care about that like that really. And then mind you, so the Tycoonin thing happened, and then we did the business deal. Then this is when I started working on a corporation album, and this is when Jack started taking off, just out the blue. This is when
All Over Me,
Shorty All Over Me.
Yeah.
Like this just out the blue. We chilling, kicking it.
This is post-hyphy movement. This is like kind of the new
and
wave
this is
of
like,
the Bay.
Cause he was doing Barney. He filmed part of Barney in my studio. The
Right.
Barney video, all that. It was just regular thing. Like so. Then he comes and Shorty All Over Me start taking off, and I'm like, damn, like it's crazy. But Jack is also one of them people who he don't forget. He's like, man, you put me on Tycoonin too, because he wanted to be on a song with 40 back then too. I put everybody together. He would really appreciate. He was just like, bro, you put me on that. And now Shorty All Over Me's taking off, and I'm juiced with him. I'm just like, we all juice, excited. And then it all started because one day I came to the studio. He was already there. When I got there, I would come there. He already be in there blowing games. And then him and Trax from the Rich was in there. So I get there, and they in there. Trax over there making a beat. And when I get there, Jack is like, I think I'm about to get on the sticks or something, whatever. He was like, man, bro, we be in here all the time, bro. We got to start making some music. And I'm kind of like, yeah, all right, yeah, for sure, you right. So I tell Trax, I'm like, yeah, bro, yeah, let's do something. I said, Trax, turn this off, put on something, And Jack is like, what? He was like, no, this one right here, he working on. And I'm like, oh, okay. It was 20 bricks. Trax was making that right then. And Jack was already in there. He must have caught a vibe on it.
It's a pretty crazy beat, man.
Yeah. And it was. But like I said, I came in, I just walked in, so I was telling him to turn that off and put on something he already made.
Yeah.
And Jack was like, no, this is it.
Yeah, this shit's a banger.
And so that was the first
one
one
we did. It's like a very futuristic, it's kind of ahead of its time type of beat.
Right. So we did that right on the spot. Jack cooked that, and it was a slapper.
It shit slaps.
We was like, man, it's a banger. Now Shorty All Over Me is going crazy. Now he's getting booked left and right. And while he's getting booked left and right, he's just like, man, just come pull up. We gonna do the song. So I'm like, damn. Like, he was really like, then next thing you know, he's going up even more. Then he's like, you know what, bro? We should do an album. I'm thinking like, I'm gonna be honest, I wasn't really lit at the time. He was lit. And I was just thinking to myself,
he was kind of at the top of the pyramid damn near.
And he grabbed hold to me, man, and was like, you coming with me. And and of course I was a hustler too, so I was like, okay. So boom. So I'm pulling up to every show just to do that one song. He bringing me out.
That song was on the radio too, wasn't it?
They started playing that on the radio too.
I remember you guys had a really nice music video for that also.
Right. I was directing a lot of those videos too back then.
That was a pretty.
And I had a dope team. My homie Ben, Prime Zero at the time.
Prime Zero.
So we was, I was coming with a lot of them things.
That was like a very cinematic, also ahead of its time music video.
Because it's like I had like the concepts and the directions for the videos, and he was very technical and cinematic. Mm-hmm. So we had a dope chemistry.
It was very high quality.
Yeah.
Yeah, you guys are like fucking about to get whacked by the Asian mafia or whatever.
Yeah, it was, I was putting together the cast. Them was my, them was my partners from the town. My, it was all that, man. We shot that on Second and Cutting in Richmond. It was like, we was really putting it together,
Sorry, I didn't mean to cut you off, though.
No. I see. Here's the thing. I don't know if you want me to keep going.
Keep going.
Because you know what I'm saying?
Yeah, keep going.
But all right, so we do that. Now I remember it was one night he had a show. I don't remember what city it was, but he had a show. After the show, the crowd is leaving. We still hanging out, and then this was when I actually met Matt Black. I might have met him before that, but I didn't remember.
He was
personally
hot at the time.
You know what I'm saying? So this is when
he was like
Jack,
a hit maker.
Jack was like, "Hey, bro, y'all need to get together."
And he was on All Over Me, so yeah.
Matt Black was always there. So Jack made our introduction like, "Man, y'all need to do something." So I'm like, okay. Like Jack was just giving me the blueprint. He was really like, come on. So then I'm like, all right, for sure. This is when Matt Black ends up getting into comes to my studio. And he makes like 4 records. Put Me On was one of them. He made Where She At. He made 4 records. Matt Black was working fast. Bow, knocking out records. So Put Me On is in there. So at the time we was making my music. I come from AWOL. I wasn't really like even the Shorty All Over Me. That was a different bag.
It's club music,
right? And seeing the reaction that Jack was getting with all the women and this, that, and the third, it was going crazy. Like these shows is crazy. We rocking is crazy. So I remember I went in there and I played with Put Me On, and I just tried to like lay a verse, and like I just kind of like I think I did a verse, and I was just kind of like, damn, I don't even really know how to come on this. It's like this some real player shit, you know what I'm saying? So
who made that beat?
Tracks from the Rich.
Oh, that dude, man, know? He's dope.
So I didn't really know how to come on, so I left it alone. Now radio's going on, you know what I'm saying? Shout out my boy John Costin. He got M1 promo. Yeah. So he was coming through all the time too. So he came through one day and was just like, bro, let me hear some shit you got going. So we going through the iTunes and I clicked on that record, Put Me On accident. Cause I felt like, you know, they wanted to kind of hear me mobbing a little bit more. So it came on, boom. And before we put it out, it didn't have it came on with an intro like doom, dun, dun. Before that, it just dropped like, baby girl, I'm feeling. So when it came on, it just dropped, boom. And then it came on, and I'm trying to hurry up and stop it. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, oh, this some other shit. And he like, no, play that one. I'm like, oh, no, that's some other shit. He's like, no, let me hear that. So I play it. And I had a verse on there. And I didn't even finish it because I didn't really know where to go with it. And then so he like, man, you need to finish this one. I was like, okay, yeah, I'll get to it. You know, well, he take a seat. Like, no, you finish this right now. I'm like, bro, I'm gonna get to it. He like, no, let's do this. Let's work on this right now. So anyway, long story short, I end up, boom, knocking it out. And we shot it to Mind Motion. Boom. Next thing you know, it followed right behind like Shorty All Over Me.
Yeah, I was gonna say I definitely knocked some work to both of those songs.
You see what I'm saying?
On like multiple nights, bruh. Like I was like 21 at the time, like in the club, like Jack started to those songs.
Jack
bro.
started that wave.
That was like when the mob shit came into the clubs. And it wasn't.
And that's when
corny,
radio meant a lot at that time. If you was getting radio, it was like you was a star.
Well, and the same DJs on the radio would go into the clubs and they would get the energy there, and then they would bring that to the radio and vice versa. And
yeah,
it was a good thing.
For sure. And it was like, you know, so yeah, shout out Camille and everybody, Vaughn, everybody over there. They were showing me a lot of love. Rick Lee.
Yeah, like I damn near think like have a memory of me like getting it on the dance floor, and Rick Lee was like DJing.
Yeah, for sure.
Somewhere out here in the city.
For sure. And it was like, you know, then now the era was different because then back then we was booked at every club in the Bay.
Yeah,
there was a lot of venues.
You could perform multiple times in one night in different cities.
We was doing it. Yeah. We was having 5 shows every weekend. That was normal. Cause see, and then Jack was so excited for me because he saw that I went from just coming to do that one song on his set to having my own, to being booked with him on the flyer. He's like, I remember one day we was in the green room or something, and he was just looking at me, and he was just like, hey, bro, you did your thing. Because this went from him just making a connection to me just, and now I'm being booked on these events with him. not just, I'm my own separate entity now. So, but we locked in, but it went from me being under what he was doing to me standing next to him. Like, we both booked on this venue, and then that song started taking off, and I'm going all over the damn country, and I'm rocking shows, and I'm doing tours, and I'm doing features, and I'm in the mix now.
And this is all under Sick With It too?
Now it's under Sick With It.
Wow.
So that brought a whole another hype to it too. Mm-hmm. So I'm rocking with Water. I'm doing all type of stuff. You know what I mean?
And then you and Jack made 2 albums together.
Yeah. So then me and him had a great wave with part 1. Then, it went so well for us. We was having so much fun, and he just trusted my vision with the videos and everything. He was just like, let's go.
Wait, did you make three projects?
We did 2. We did Never Be the Same Part 1, and we did Never Be the Same Part 2, that No Mercy. And yeah.
Yeah, it's because it kind of all, to me, it seemed like it followed the concept of the 20 Bricks.
For sure.
You guys carried that into...
Because it was like a trilogy. Yeah, so we was just, I wanted to put a whole storyline with it, so we built like a whole storyline with it, and it was exciting. I put a lot of energy into it, and a lot of, he kind of trusted my vision on it and let me kind of quarterback it, and he just showed up and showed out, and he knew that it was good in my hands, and he trusted it. Like, go, when I tell him something, he'll just be like, don't even just tell me, let's go.
Yeah, I feel like he was good with that. Like, he was good at handling situations of different artists, different labels, different projects, and just doing what he had to do.
Just a real one of a kind, man. One of a kind guy that is in our region. I want to see it go back to that, where artists aren't afraid to share the spotlight. We got to pull each other up and show each other that love. You never know what you could spark. And that's how I am, man. I like to, I feel like if I'm doing my thing, me showing somebody love or putting them in position and sharing the stage and sharing the platform, it's not going to take nothing from me, Yeah. We all individual. We snowflakes. So everybody, there's no snowflakes alike. So everybody's their own snowflake. So it's like, it's not going to take nothing from me.
Yeah, I feel like things are a little more competitive and insulated now, and I think a lot of it has to do with social media. We're all like in each other's faces all the time, and I think that can affect people in negative ways sometimes.
Yeah.
So you guys were really close. What impact did it have on you when he passed away?
Man, it was trying to figure out where to go from there. You know what I'm saying? It was because like I say, I was losing a lot of close friends in the streets, and people was going to jail, and a lot of my loved ones, a lot of things was happening, man. There was a lot of wars going on in the streets. It was a lot going on, but music was always still my baby. So it was like we were fresh off of, I don't even know how many videos we shot. We created a look and a sound. And it was like when that was gone, man, I was just really trying to figure it out. I didn't really know where to go from there. And I felt like everything I was making, it just wasn't, all the music I was creating, I just didn't believe in it. It just wasn't, so I just said, you know what? I know when to fall back. I'm not going to force this. And that's when I fell back. But of course, and now years have gone by. Me and 40 and the Sick With It crew, we family. So I'm still rocking no matter what. Even if I'm not rapping, I'm here. I'm supportive. I'm here. I was supporting all the other artists.
You're still a Sick With It artist to this day.
Yeah, now we family now. So we don't really, it's not all about no business thing. If I don't never rap again, if Water don't never rap again,
gotcha.
That's family. So we not really tripping on, we gotta, it's not, we not.
You're part of the collective.
That's my family.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Him, Feek, you know what I'm saying? We all got our, brotherhood, like real family. So, so even while that's going on, 40's working on all his projects and doing his thing. I'm more so just being supportive. All the rappers at the time was on the label, from Neff to Pharaoh, PZ, all these different artists. They all doing their thing. They going crazy. I'm just supporting. I don't mind being. I don't gotta be in the forefront all the time. And it's about me. It's a new generation ushering in. I'm gonna support y'all and give y'all any game I can give y'all. I don't gotta be. I fell back, and I was still there, but I wasn't at the forefront pushing music.
Yeah, real quick too. Like when something you said struck me is like when I think of your projects with Jacka, they definitely did have their own sound. I don't know if it's that tracks production you're talking about, but like, cause he did a lot of work and a lot of albums, solo collaborations,
sure.
but y'all shit has its own.
Yeah.
And then when I hear you talk about it's coming out of the 20 bricks, all over me, put me on kind of wave. Like that's a really cool thing to do for artists, is to build an identity through the sound.
Right.
To where this sounds like this,
right,
and it don't sound like nothing else.
And that's something that we was able to create, like a sound. And like I said, without bruh, I wasn't able to, like.
You couldn't carry that on.
I couldn't carry that on.
Yeah.
I couldn't carry it on, and I didn't want to carry it on.
Right.
So it's not even that I couldn't. I didn't want to. It was just it didn't feel like a comfortable space no more.
I just realized I should bring something else up, because I got to shout out my bro DJ Amen, because he's the one who connected us to do this episode.
Shout out Amen.
He mentioned, didn't he A&R a project for you at one point?
He did. That project was called Live by Night.
I think I remember that.
Live by Night. Yeah, Live by Night, and it was dope, bro. We just, he got involved. He really kind of curated it and was like, pulling songs from here, add this, put me on. He was like, we got to do a remix. We wouldn't put Nicki on the remix. We put 40 on the remix, put me on. He just really went in and was like, hey, he knew what songs it needed to be. And we did it, man. It was a quality project. And that's a full circle relationship too. Like I said, even with A-Man, because before A-Man was A-Man, like on the level he's at now, he was just my little bro. And, I would, have his back no matter what he was going through. And when he was just the guy in Petaluma coming through, I would always let him come to the studio and network with the artists. And he was around. He was, the little guy popping up, and he was just like soaking up game. I used to go out there I forgot, it was like a small radio station he was at in Petaluma back then. I can't remember the name of it. But, he was just there, bro. I always invited him in, like, come on, bro, you good. Let's go. And then he started wiggling into his situation and all that. And we just always stayed locked in, man. That's my little bro. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, these relationships go a long way, man.
Right. And like I said in the beginning of this, it's just like, I never fronted on nobody, bro. That's key in this game. Is like I tell people, like, if you walking through them doors right now, you want to be able to walk through them doors in 10 years, bro.
Absolutely.
You got to understand that, because everybody has their time to shine. And when it's somebody else's time to shine, you got to humbly be able to, you can still exist. There's still room for you to coexist with it, but you don't have to be at the forefront. You still need to know how to be a team player.
Right.
You know what I'm saying?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Well, to go full circle, I feel like we kind of wound back where we started, where you talked about the transition to Hitta Slim, Jacka passing, DJing. But you did get back into, like, I feel like you've had your foot on the gas music-wise. Like, you drop a lot of shit.
Yeah, I did. So I told you, when I came back from DJing, I realized what I wanted. I realized my sound, my identity. Like, even in my young Laroo days, I always, if people go back and look at my old albums, I always had a feature. I always felt like I had to have somebody backing me, because I hadn't fully found my identity on what I wanted to look like, sound like, and understand. So then with the Hitta Slim stuff, I understood. I understood my tempo. I understood my rhythm. So then I made Hog. So fast forward, bruh passed, DJing, came back. And when I'm in the studio, I'm just working, I'm just throwing stuff at the wall. Then I made Hog. And when I made Hog, I was really just like describing the beat. When I was rapping, I think I was kind of leaning up against the wall, just kind of rapping. I was just narrating it. You know what I'm saying? Just my approach to it. And I realized, like, I wasn't trying to, like, I'm be a rapper, I'm finna woo, woo, whoop. It was just me. You know what I'm saying? So I did that, and that night, no lie, me and my partner Trip, we probably played that song that night. We probably had that thing on repeat about 150 times. We was just enjoying it.
Just having fun.
It didn't matter if it ever came out.
Mm-hmm.
And that's what I said. People got to understand, you got to self-entertain first.
Right.
So we was self-entertaining. It didn't matter if it never left that room. We was enjoying it. We in there, boom, 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 boom. And it was just, we played it over and over. So then I was like, man, you know what? This mobbing, I'm going to try to get 40 on it. So anyway, so I go to the, we in the studio. We in the studio. I'm with 40. Now, I'm in his session, like with the OG, he know my approach on how I'm gonna come get him on the record, and you gotta just strategically get him on the record, like when it's time, because he got so much stuff going on, he's busy. So, it was his session that night. It got late in the night, and we had been sipping and smoking and all this whatever, right? So he was getting tired. I could tell he was getting tired. So I was like, okay. I was thinking to myself like, all right, I know I ain't gonna get a verse out of him tonight, you know what I'm saying? So that's okay. So I thought about it, I said, you know what if I just have him do some ad-libs? So he was almost nodding off, right? And then I said, hey, Water. I tap him like, hey man, he do some little ad-libs for me on the song real quick. He woke up like, oh, okay, but he's still kind of nodding. And then so I told the engineer, I believe it was Mickey at the time, I told Mickey, I said, hey, play that real quick. I already had it queued up. Play that shit came on. Woo, woo. He woke up like, what's this? You know what I'm saying? So then he instantly went into his zone, and he was having fun. And then the record ended up being like, this is fun. And he 10x'd it. You know what I mean? So then we went into the visual. Shout out my bro Jay Simph, because he, I brought it to Jay Simph, and he was like, okay, let me rock with that. So Jay Simph I felt like with the Hitta Slim brand from that Hog video, the way he edited that and with his style and everything, he kind of created a visual image of what it needed to be.
That's important. That's kind of what I was talking about earlier.
It goes hand in hand.
That identity.
Yeah, he created his edits and everything. When he did it, it was just like before he even finished the video, he sent me like a 50-second clip, 30, 40 seconds, some clip like that. And then I posted it. The video wasn't even done yet. I posted it, and it was just like, boom.
Nice.
You know what I'm saying? And even Water was like, damn, this is kind of crazy. Then Water posted it, and it was like, bam. So now here's Hitta Slim now.
Yeah, it's interesting. Oh, go ahead.
No, I was going to say, and then now from that, I was just like, I studied it, why they liked it, because I loved it. Even before it even came out, I told you we played it 150 times. So I was like, I studied it, and I was like, why do people like this? I did this effortlessly. This, like in the past, I used to try to rap and be hella lyrical and gas, whoop, whoop, whoop. And I was like, with this right here, I was just having fun.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So I said, I reckon this what y'all want? Because I can do this shit like it ain't nothing. And then so, I studied it, then I started peeping, and then I was like, oh, okay, I learned what people wanted from me. So I said, oh, this makes it 10 times easier. So a lot of my verses, I used to have to think and take my time and write and, rehearse and do all this. And with this, now I can just have fun. And people want to, the fun that I have with music, I realize it's contagious, because I just be having fun, bro. I don't be trying to, over create. I just kind of, just be me.
That's the best formula. And it does feel like a new formula for you. And what I was going to say, it's just interesting having this conversation, seeing where you started with AWOL is one phase, then finding your lane with the stuff you're doing with Jacka and your solo stuff from that time is another, and now you're kind of in your Hitta Slim bag.
Right.
Once you figure out your formula and your identity and your image, you can kind of just like, okay, those are your parameters. You just stay in that lane, and then you can just take it as far as you want to take it. For sure. And then I just got, I understand, like, I've been blessed to have so much experience in the game. I know what it takes. It's about assembling a team. It's not just me. Right.
So all this stuff going on, I can never take full credit for it. It's about having a dope team.
Right.
You know what I mean? Dope, engineer, Legacy Studio, my boy Lou, he mixing and mastering for me. He, I went to him also too and was like, man, I need to really try to get my craft back going. And he was patient with me and he helped me build like, a sound. I was, so it was a team of people, videographers, graphic guys. It was like a 7-step process, and once I mastered it, I was able to create content like that.
Yeah, you just got your formula.
Right. Next thing you know, I shot 175 videos.
You shot 175 videos for 175 different songs?
Yeah. Under Hitta Slim music videos. Like, if people don't understand, see, that's why my catalog is so crazy.
It's pretty impressive, man.
This is under Hitta Slim. This don't have nothing to do with the Laroo catalog. So whereas, like, people don't understand, like, a lot of times I don't really have to reach for that. Like, you don't really see me run around, oh, I did this for Mac.
So 175 music videos.
Yeah, plus, maybe more.
All generating streams and views.
Yeah.
That's what they call volume right there.
Right, yeah.
You have one song that gets 1 million streams, or you could have volume.
Yeah. I shot videos, whereas I was dropping videos every other day, just dropping. And it was just like, it was just content because it's effortless. I'm able to make these songs in a short period of time.
It's pretty impressive, man.
Because I'm not forcing it. I'm just having
pretty
fun.
Impressive.
And and also, so with the Hitta Slim brand, everybody get home safe, bro. I didn't, what I'm saying, I don't glorify no negativity. It's all about, it's not no peanut music where you like, this, but it's about, I represent a good day in the hood. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, I was listening to some AWOL shit on the way over here. I was like, God damn.
Yeah, it was funky. It was funky, and I was. It
reflected those times too,
for sure.
Though, also.
And that's what I'm saying. So, but with this new brand, if people listen to the Hitta Slim brand, everybody got home safe. Nobody, it's all positive energy. You know what I'm saying? And it's like I said, it's some hood music. You gonna see your partner. You might might smoke something. You might make a few dollars. You might hustle. You gonna do this and that. But it's a good day in the hood. When you see your partner ride through clean, he just made some money. He met a nice female. He did his thing. It just represent a good day in the hood. Because and I try to extend that because it's like, a lot of the generations. Like, if you have 16 songs, it's like somebody don't need to die on every song.
Yeah,
you got to get your
sure.
point across. I get that. If something but when it's so many different elements to the streets, it's layers.
Yeah.
It's layers to the streets. And it's just like we can't all report on the same thing. You know what I'm saying?
So what's next? What can people look forward to? What are you looking forward to?
Well, I got a lot of new content, of course, and now I look at like my projects of more like a bust down. So whereas, because I know how fast music goes over people's heads, so I don't want to just drop, whole albums. I will, but I drop singles first because I realize the impact of a single could be bigger than the impact of a whole album.
Absolutely.
So I just walk them down. I just have fun, man. Just stay creating, family, man, business ventures, investing, staying positive, man. You know what I mean?
Sounds pretty fun to me, bro.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's
I'm blessed,
awesome.
Man. I'm blessed. Rocking with Water, still locked in. Shout out Feek, shout out Water, shout out the team. Shout out Droopy. Me and Droopy got a new album coming out.
Yeah, he told me.
Yeah,
actually.
Yeah, me and Droop, man, that's an amazing guy right there. Yeah, I got my solo album. I got a lot of stuff coming, man.
Exciting. I look forward to hearing it. Look forward to seeing it.
Yeah,
I'll be right here anytime you need my support. We're locked in now.
Thank you, my guy.
I appreciate
you having me, man. You know what I'm saying? I respect what you're doing, man. You're doing a lot of good stuff, man. I see you had a lot of different artists, and you telling an untold story of the Bay. And so that's good, man. It's living up to what it should be, man. History of the Bay.
Thanks, bro.
I remember I watched the one where you had Messy Marv on the phone.
Yeah.
It's a lot of great content you putting out there, man. It's so many untold stories. Even like I said, live from Empire, even Empire, shout out Ghazi, man. I've watched Ghazi. That's he's somebody who I consider that's my friend.
Sure.
And it's prior to the great things he's done. He used to engineer for us.
Yep.
Ghazi was engineering. He was he was gassing. You know what I'm saying?
Beats, all that.
Beats. He was doing it all. And even when his transition started into distribution, I used to go pull up on him when he worked for the other Grooves. He had a little desk in the back, and You know, then he was over there on Potrero. We used to meet up out of town and lock in. So he just always been the same Gazi, man. I appreciate that guy.
Yeah, man, it's awesome, bro. It's like you said, it's just having fun. You do the things you love. You really love this shit. You're gonna stay in it.
He really love it.
You connect with
really,
people along the way, and things happen.
And like I said, and just remain humble, man. Don't burn no bridges, man. A lot of people, you know, when they having their time to shine, they take it for granted. Don't take it for granted, man. Appreciate the moment. Be able to walk through them same doors in 10 years.
You see the same faces coming down that you do going up.
Yes, sir.
There it is. Wise words from the hard hitter, Laroo, aka Hitta Slim. History of the Bay. I'll see you guys November 9th. Get your tickets. History of the Bay Day is going down. Definitely gonna get you on the list. Of course,
okay,
my bro.
Say less.
Of course,
say less.
Of course. And I'll see you guys next week with another episode. Peace, y'all.
Recognize where you got the game. We got our own style, got our own slang. Northern California is a West Coast thing. This is the history of the Bay. Recognize where you got the game. We got our own style, got our own slang. Northern California is a West Coast thing. This is the history of the Bay.